a conversation with Mariana Tarzia on organizational ombuds. That is our topic for today, only on instant.mediations.com. Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast by instant.mediations.com, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube, the Instant Mediations app, and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact dependent. Hi, everyone. This is Mac Pierre Louis, attorney, mediator, and arbitrator working throughout Florida and Texas.
And I am Natalia Łowska-Czajka, advocate, mediator, and arbitrator based in Warsaw, Poland. And together with us, our friend from Argentina, Mariana Tarzia.
Hi, Mariana. Good to have you on today. And we are having you on as part of a potentially new series where we'll be talking about mediation, arbitration, ombuds, and all the things involved in conflict resolution, particularly down from your neck of the woods, Argentina. So, Mariana, welcome back and let us know a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Mac and Natalia. It's very nice to be here today. It's a pleasure for me to be with you too. Well, my name is Mariana Tarzia. I am from Argentina. I am an international relations professional, a conflict resolution specialist in negotiation and mediation. I am living permanently now in Argentina, but I work internationally too. I am a director of Grupo Negociar too, which is a company that specializes in conflict resolution. And
And Mariana,
yes.
while you're continuing about Grupo Negociar, let me share my screen to actually put your website on. If you're watching this on YouTube, you should be able to see the site. If you are listening to it on the podcast, then of course you can check back on the video. And for people who are listening and who are not watching, that site is gruponegociar.com. I'm going to spell it. It's gruponegociar.com.ar for Argentina. So, Mariana, please, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please continue about your business.
Thank you. No, I work mostly in Spanish and English, and it's an honor for me to be here today with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I do see that your website is in both languages. And of course, I speak English. So I'm checking it out on the English version. But yeah, Natalia?
Thank you so much, Mariana, for accepting our invitation and being here with us. And please tell us something about the mediations you do in Argentina as well.
Well, in Argentina, there are two types of mediations. I am a prejudiciary mediator and a private mediator. Usually in Argentina, mediators are mostly lawyers, and we have a national law for mediation, and each state, they have their own law. So sometimes you can work in a prejudiciary mediation in one state and go and work or have clients in next state, which you do like private mediations.
Okay. And I noticed something when you the language in Argentina is Spanish, right?
Yes, it is.
And I know from our private conversations, you used to live in the U.S., right?
Yes, I was living 12 years in the United States, in Washington, D.C.
Okay,
Beautiful.
so are you able to then do mediations in both languages?
Yes, I can do mediations in both languages, of course. Mostly if it's in another country, I will do online mediations.
Okay,
And usually it's a mediator from the other country and me from Argentina.
got it. And we wanted to segue to talk a little bit more about Argentinian-based mediation. So, can you tell us something special that most people who are outside of Argentina might not know about Argentinian mediations?
Well, the most it's not most important, but usually the mediations that we usually do in Argentina are corporate mediations and family mediations. And it's not that all the mediations in here, and we are trying to get the mediations in Argentina as an example for another countries around. I think mediation, for example, in Colombia is coming, and in Brazil they do have it in Chile. So we are trying to push that.
Thank you for letting us know about it. And you also mentioned, and we learned from your website, that you do something that is called Ombuds, and that it has some sort of a corporate and organizational dimension. Can you tell us something more? What an ombuds can do for an organization, what it is?
Yes. Well, an ombuds, we call it like an agent of change. And the ombuds operates independently of the organizational structure from the companies. And there are two kind of ombuds that could be from the company or could be an external ombuds that the company is going to look in the outside. Usually ombuds, they work informally. We work in the informally level. We maintain confidentiality. We are impartial and neutral, and we the and we can do mediations inside the organizations. Being an ombuds, that's something that an ombuds can do too.
Okay, so just to be clear, you don't work for the company, do you, as an ombuds?
You can actually, could be an employee from the company that suddenly has this new post that could be an ombuds, but usually the recommendation is somebody external from the company. So
Uh,
when you are external from the company, you can study the organization because you need to know all the levels, and you can interview the people, and that guarantee you will be neutral and impartial. And people from the company, since you don't have a history in there, they will come and talk to you more freely.
That's
But
Got
very
you
it.
are paid.
interesting.
Yeah, but you are paid still from the organization. So some people is asking, but how can you be, so neutral and impartial if the company is paying you? But well, you sign an agreement, of course, and you guarantee that that's what you are going to be.
So, can you give us an example what an ombuds can do for the organization or for the employees or for both?
Yes, yes. For example, some cases, it could be when a new employee arrive in the company and the top levels of the company doesn't communicate too much with the employees, for example, and the employees they're worried about why this new person is in here. Is somebody going to get fired? And suddenly could be that there is an employee who is going to be retired, and they cannot accept this new employee coming, and there are some frictions, some conflicts arise, and they actually need to voluntarily go and talk to the ombuds. The kind of confidentiality we have is like, in mediations you maintain the confidentiality, but you can tell who is coming to the meeting. An ombuds can never tell who is coming to see him. So if somebody asks you, you cannot confirm or deny that this person visits you. And you can give some points to this person who comes to see you. You can point them into the right direction, who can talk to. You can even do mediations between the people who are having the conflict. um, you know, or you can bring the issue to the boss in the organization without telling them who came to see you. And that's a way to resolve a lot of disputes inside organizations.
Okay, so that's one example of the employee, the new employee who comes, right? And I almost imagine it like high school,
Yeah.
where you have a lot of kids who see the new child, the new kid in town, the new kid on the block, and sometimes that creates a little bit of tension. Well, if that new employee is feeling some kind of pressure or problems or whatever, then they have a third person they can seek out, right? Who's neutral, who's
Yes,
like you, basically. So I can see how that could be helpful for a business to make sure they keep the peace, because a business owner is never going to actually know if there's even a problem, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So all, like, I guess employees need to know, hey, everybody, there's this ombuds person down the hall or outside the office
Hmm.
who everyone can go to help us maintain cohesion in the workplace. So what's another example of a situation that an ombuds could help with?
Well, another situation that is very common could be bullying um, in the organization, and could be at all levels. That can happen at all levels, and usually the employees can come and see you in groups too. So it's not just an individual thing. They can come one by one. They can come in groups. You can actually do mediations that way too. Um, and other things that we do is when you have problems with clients or providers, you can they can come to you too, and you can go and take the complaint and elevate it inside the organization, for example. Or
Okay, when you're
negotiating, you can
Mhm.
negotiate, actually, I'm sorry,
N-
between two companies.
okay, just to go back on bullying when you just brought it up a second ago. Can that extend to Me Too movement kind of things like sexual harassment as well?
Yes, yes, and you can actually um, tell the people who is having that you can consider to go, to go to the authorities or
Hmm.
put a legal complaint. They cannot put legal complaints with us,
Yeah.
but we can refer them, and they
Okay.
can, decide what they want to do.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's always intriguing to me just how much power does an ombuds person have. I'm guessing a whole lot, since people can basically tell on you and what you're doing to them, to this third person who is supposed to be neutral. But go ahead, Natalia.
Yeah.
Yes, and I wanted to ask you because if we say organization, is there a specific type of organization, special type of business, special business profile that can only use ombudsman, or is it of general practice? What sort of work environment would you indicate that a work of the ombudsman would be needed?
Well, it's a big field of to work with, because we are like actually in private companies. It could be public companies, NGOs, universities, for example, international organizations like United Nations and the Organization of American States. They have an ombuds too. So it's a big field. Usually small companies, they don't use it, because it's maybe if it's like 2 or 3 employees, even if they want to, keep confidentiality and the ombuds is doing it, at some point somebody will tell who is coming where. But usually big companies are the one using it.
Okay, thank you. So we have about 5 minutes left, and this is the free for all. We get to ask you lots of questions. No, I was gonna ask you just a little bit back on mediations in Argentina generally.
Yes.
So, since COVID, we've had lockdowns, and mediators around the world have all jumped on the online mediation bandwagon because that was the only way we were going to be able to help our clients and our parties. And people's problems didn't go away, they just sat there and waited for the courts to reopen. But lo and behold, we got Zoom, and it's become very helpful. But in Argentina, I don't think Zoom was that, I guess, popular for mediations, right? Because from my understanding, it was more WhatsApp and now Google Meet. Or can you speak a little bit about that? Because again, I think anybody who has a problem, right, whether it's in Argentina or outside Argentina, and who wants to get in contact with you or with any mediator out there, they need to kind of know, what tool do I use to actually make this happen? Can you speak a little bit about mediations in general in Argentina online?
Sure. Well, some states, if it's a prejudicial mediation, some state they use a special program that they develop for that. But usually, where I am located, we use a lot of, believe it or not, we conduct mediations through WhatsApp.
Mhm.
Could be camera, could be on the phone. Sometimes it's by messages, depending of the where the people is located, because sometimes they are in the middle of an oil field and they don't have a good connection and they cannot do Zoom or Google Meet, which is usually what we are using now. So we need to work with whatever they can do, actually.
Okay, just to follow up, and what about security? And then how do you guys do e-signings and all that? Because I'm just fascinated by this because I spent so much of my professional work, helping mediators, set things up and make sure that they provide a good experience. But how do you guys deal with those two things, security and signatures?
Well, the signatures, the way we are doing it right now in Rio Negro, for example, in where I'm located, when if we go into an agreement with the parties, that agreement is going directly to the main office online. We send it through email. Some lawyers receive it through WhatsApp, for example, and they can go in person to sign in there. The director, for example, they sign the agreement at the e-sign. They do that, and it is on file. Some mediators got the e-sign too,
Mhm.
and we can use that. And that's the way we are doing it now. But a lot of people, it's just they think that if it's not physically signed,
Mhm.
it's not legal. Some parties think. But something that I didn't tell you before, in Argentina, when you do prejudicial mediations, the parties are obligated to come with a lawyer. If they don't have a lawyer, we cannot conduct mediations. Extrajudiciary, yes, they can come with no lawyer, which is usually community mediations, or you can do school mediations, that type.
That's actually fascinating because we are all doing practically similar issues, similar dealing with similar issues, doing similar things, but we sometimes use different tools and different approaches. And also the topic of whether mediation goes better with or without lawyers is of special interest to us, and we will be absolutely happy to expand on it with you, Mariana, knowing
Sure.
your vast experience on that. But to close up for today, we would like to thank you so much for joining us from Argentina. And what the conversation that we were having just brings me to one main conclusion: mediation. Because what an ombuds does is actually a mediation within the workplace and mediating the workplace conflicts.
Mhm.
Mediation can happen everywhere in our lives, in every single field that we're dealing with. It can be school, it can be family, it can be court or outside of court. It can be anything that we can think of whenever the conflict is appearing or you are facing the danger of entering into a conflict. So let us keep mediating. Let us be aware of how vast of a use mediation can have. And we'll be happy to have you with us again, Mariana. Closing for us, for now, from us. Yeah, all the best. And
Thank you
let
very
us see you
much.
soon.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure to be with you guys.
Bye.